line. We got Max Howell on the line. Will, you can't bring your canines on our show. I'm sorry.
Well, I was letting them off. I was taking them to the beauty parlor.
In fact, I know that they're your best friend. They're your best friend.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, on your logo, it says Matthews a law firm, and then they got a big, pretty picture of a dog. Is that right?
Yep.
I got Max on the line for you, for him to hear what you got to say.
You know, there are a lot of smart people at Troy Cable. I know because they do my telephone, my internet, all that stuff at my office.
I didn't realize that. That's great.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All you need to do is get one of them to go up there and fix your phones where you can put 3 people in. It's not hard. It's not brain surgery.
Well, I tell you what, I've had a lot of people look at it.
No, I can do it. I've tried it.
It's easy. Call Troy Cable and get their telephone guy to come out there.
Well, I will. I'll try to do that today.
Yep, he will do that. They've done it for my office.
Yeah. Well, we've got where we can carry 2 at the same time, and we do need that other line, no question. Right now, Mike Amos is sitting out, and Will Matthews, you got a question for the great Max Howell.
I just wonder if we're going to have fans in the stands when they start playing.
That's a good question. I think, Will, that's the whole dilemma right now. It's not about playing. The team's going to be ready to play. It's the fact is how they're going to handle the crowds. And I think, they started it off with letting each conference decide that it boils down to the local community. We've heard everything from 25%. Ohio State released theirs a couple of weeks ago. They said they're only going to let 25% in the first game or two. Now, how do they determine which 25%
wow.
is in? And what are they doing? Every school's selling season tickets right now, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Troy's been selling season tickets all summer long. And do you buy your season tickets now and then if they don't play, they'll send your money back, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a disclaimer. It's a disclaimer. So most everybody's going online to do that. There's some still printing, going to print the hard copies, but there's a disclaimer on whatever release that they're using. There's a disclaimer there about that very thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's about, we got about 85 days before we start that opening ball game. So that behooves the administration to figure that out between now and then.
Max, it won't apply to Vanderbilt, though. Did you see that? All this stuff, because Vanderbilt doesn't have 25% occupancy in their stadium. So it won't affect them.
Yeah, I had seen every school, basically I think will have something within whatever the regulations are. Whether they use the mask or whether they use hand sanitizers at the gate. There's several things that are going to happen. I question, regardless of what they do, the behavior once they get in the stadium. Because, alcohol is being served almost on every campus now. We know the intensity that goes with the competition at the college football level. And then you mix that with alcohol, I don't know where the 6-foot distance thing's going to work or not.
The point I keep making is, are these people staying 6 feet from each other before the game and after the game? No.
We were figuring it out, the Sound of the South Marching Band, which is very important to Troy University, no question about it. They march about 350, 400. And I could see... Excuse us?
Hey,
yeah.
Mike, I had court yesterday where I'm the judge. We had over 200 people. What we did, they lined up, they had tents outside. They lined up 6 feet apart. We took in 4 people at a time. I started at 1 o'clock and I ended about 7:30 last night.
Now let me ask you a personal question. Did you have a mask on?
Absolutely. Everybody that came in there had a mask. They had their temperature taken.
Well, that's what they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Max, that's what do you think that the people that will go into the stadium will have a mask on?
I think they'll have to. They'll probably issue a mask.
What do you think, Max?
Now, here's what I wonder about that. That number's obviously worked for you guys. What they're going to do with 50
Yeah, I know
I
it.
don't see how they do it. I don't see how they can do it.
They're going to have a lottery. It's going to have some kind of lottery, and maybe this week you get in the stadium and the next week you don't, something like that.
Well, Mike,
I think the
do
lottery
you think tailgaters are going to socially distance? Never.
No.
I mean, it's not going to happen.
Hey,
I agree.
have you ever been to the Grove in Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah.
So isn't all this ridiculous or superfluous? If the point is to keep people separated from each other, well, they're not going to be separated from each other. I mean, they might be separated from each other for 2.5 hours while they're in the stadium, but the 5 hours before and after the game, they're not going to be separated.
I can see something typed on or attached to your ticket saying, "We're not responsible for anybody that comes into this stadium."
You make your own decision. I think it's Max that said you make your own decision whether you want to go to the ball game.
They're going to have something like that, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's called the assumption of risk.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of people prefer to just go and watch it from the tailgate areas anyway. Like that place you were saying at Ole Miss.
In Troy, sometimes I would like to get a National Guard squadron to come through the tailgate terrace and push people into the stadium, because some games, half the people that come to the tailgate terrace don't even go in the game.
Yeah, and that's the same way
That's the way it is at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
It's a 5 acre area called the Grove, and there'll be 50,000 out there in the Grove.
Yeah.
But maybe half of them go to the stadium. You go have 8 or 10, 15,000, so that they're with their tents, with their TVs and all that stuff, and never go.
But the Wise boys at Wise Office Supply, they'll be at Auburn if Auburn's playing a football game. No question about it. They'll have their motor home, and they'll just have to decide on whether or not they'll go into the game.
How many people are going to be in that motor home going over there? 8? They ain't going to be social distancing.
Yeah. Max, the key is liability, and by saying that means they've got to sign off somewhere on the school's not going to be responsible.
Mike, you got Will on the other end. He's the one that can talk to you.
I know exactly. Will, what do you think about liability?
Well, it's going to be hard to prove if somebody got it at the game or got it somewhere else. You really don't know. But look at all these thousands of people protesting, and they're 2 feet apart. I mean,
And the thing everybody's got to be concerned about was who's going to follow this guy home and say, well, you at the ball game, and how long were you?
You're right. No, you couldn't prove if they got it at the grocery store, at the convenience store, at the post office. Yeah. Oh, you're going to say, they definitely got it at the Alabama-Chattanooga game? No.
Well, the beach was packed with people last weekend, and it'll be the same way this weekend. And the key is when do they go home, and where do they go home? That means they're taking the virus all over everywhere again,
If they got it, yeah.
But again, don't you agree that the schools are going to make you sign some disclosure of responsibility?
I don't know if it makes any difference, Mike. I really don't.
You don't?
I think so, yeah.
But I mean, like somebody said, well, I've got the virus and I went to the ball game, and I blame it on LSU for letting me go into the ball game.
Yeah, that lawsuit ain't gonna float. That dog ain't gonna hunt.
That would be the team that loses, Mike.
Yeah. Of course, Pike County, Alabama has only 1 death so far out of 256 cases, something like that. Ozark is not near as high as Pike County. I can't believe it.
There are a lot of people in Ozark that have it. I will guarantee you.
Well,
there are a lot of people that are sick with it.
Yeah. Well, a lot of military people in Ozark, and they're coming in and out. Ladies and gentlemen, our guest is Max Howell, and Max, you haven't even had time to cook, man. Let me tell you something I've learned. Let me tell you what I love. I love corn on the cob.
Microwave it for 3.5 minutes.
I went out and bought my corn yesterday, and I went to one place, and they didn't have corn on the hoof or on the shank. What do you call them?
Shuck. No.
Shuck, yeah, on the shuck. And you can take a piece of corn, corn on the cob, stick it in the microwave for 3 hours and 3 minutes and 15 seconds, and you're ready to eat corn on the cob.
Yeah, we took this past weekend. We did shish kebabs with chicken and steak, and then we also had side orders of potatoes and corn on the cob. But we choked out with Mike and put them in tin foil, put butter, a little garlic powder on them, and a little black pepper. Rolled them in there and kept them on the grill while we did the shish kebab. Came out and I'm telling you, it was just as sweet and juicy.
I know that's what surprised me so much. Of course, once you take it out of the microwave, and the shuck comes right off, and it's ready to eat with butter on it.
But you said you got to do one at a time.
One at a time. You're right. Exactly. Eating it like that. You probably grill yours, don't you, Max? How do you do your corn on the cob?
Grill, yeah, we did. We cooked about 12, 15 ears.
Yeah.
That's the way I do it too.
Yeah.
Getting back to the fans in the stands at college football, aren't we going to have some case studies before college football of other sporting events that are, NASCAR, golf tournaments, baseball, that are going to start easing fans in? So we'll know something before September 5th, right?
Yeah, I think more, and Will, you can address this if you would. I'm not so sure once the rules are loosened up. What about that? Let's just take that fan base that's over 65 years old. Are they going to be wanting to jump out there and go to a ball game and sit there with 50,000, 60,000, 100,000 people? I don't know, but they are.
I know.
I'm 64 and I'm not going. I'll guarantee you that. I won't be.
I'm not going either.
Crowd.
Yeah,
Well, and let me tell you something. I don't have to be in the stadium. I can watch it on TV. A lot of people can watch it on TV.
Well,
at least you've got that option. I think.
You watch in the stadium club, don't you?
Oh yeah.
With air conditioning and.
If I wanted to, I go on in the stadium. But you're right. The stadium club is where I watch.
What are they going to do with all these booths and stadium clubs? Are they going to let people fill those up? The presidential suites?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get 6 feet
I mean,
apart.
most of those have 12, 15, 20 people in them, and they're tight quarters. So I just say let people assume the risk, go if they want to go, and then don't worry about lotteries and this row is full and then you skip down 2 rows. That's just way too many details and hassle, and I think even people are going to just throw up their hands and say the heck with it, put it on TV, which is probably what we'll end up doing, is just watching the games on TV.
And I can see these rich schools getting these big giant screens and putting them in the tailgate areas and watching it like that. The Alabamas, the Auburns, and the LSU.
But then wouldn't they be assuming that same liability where you're inviting people to your campus and they're not socially distancing?
Oh yeah, that's even worse.
Yeah,
exactly right.
That's even worse if you do that, Mike.
Well, I tell you what, all right, if they don't clean up the logistics part of this thing, it's not going to work. Don't you agree, Max?
Yeah, I think that's the whole going to be the big question is how. And look, they're meeting in the conference people and the individual schools with the athletic directors and all constantly on the phone right now trying to figure that stuff out. And I'm thinking, I know that all across the country they're swapping ideas and trying to. I'll be anxious to see the first release of a plan that certain conferences are going to adhere to, and then they're going to have to refine that down because, as we all know, everybody's not going to adhere to the same plan. And that, we're going to have a spike in the being contagious again, and then how people are going to react to that.
Yeah, Max.
I think you're going to see the Alabama USC game will be canceled. I think there's no question that's going to happen.
That's my prediction too. And
it's going to be canceled.
Yeah, that's the 5th of September. That's less than 3 months from now.
Yeah.
And I don't see any way Southern Cal is going to be playing football. Not with California. I just don't see that happening. Yeah. And a lot of people said TCU would play Alabama, but I haven't seen anything
concrete.
About that.
Troy, tell them Troy come up there and play them.
That's what I keep saying.
Right now, they just released this morning. Ole Miss is supposed to open up with Baylor in Houston, and they released. I just pulled an article up this morning, just released last night. That right now those athletic directors are working toward that ball game. They think they're going to be able to play. Now, under what conditions? There's been no regulations released on that yet.
I'll make it even if Alabama, say if USC that game falls through, which I think it will, and then there's a substitute game against TCU, which would be a home game for TCU. How many Alabama fans you think, with this financial crisis and fears about the virus, would actually go out, fly out to Dallas, Texas to watch that game?
Bill, they'll sell every ticket that Alabama gets.
Uh-huh.
They're like Kentucky.
Well, you got to remember too that you got Alabama fans that live other than just in Alabama.
Well, those fans will go. You're right. So all your Alabama fans will be Alabama fans who live in Texas around Dallas.
Right. That's right. And you got it's just like Kentucky in basketball. You get Kentucky in basketball, and you'll have Kentucky fans that will go to that venue just because they can't get tickets in Lexington.
You know,
absolutely right.
These neutral site games have lost their novelty with Alabama fans, though. I mean, you remember the attendance at the Alabama-Louisville game in Orlando 2 years ago? That Alabama fans are almost spent. You know, they've gone to so many of these neutral site games, SEC championship games, playoff games. The novelty's over for them. And, you know, it just costs thousands of dollars every time you do it. And, you know, 2 years ago, people might have had thousands of dollars, but right now they're probably saying, you know, maybe we should keep that thousands of dollars for diapers and food.
In fact, some people are using that government money to buy a car. You know what they're doing in Alabama? They're using that government money to pay for football tickets. You think about it. Max Howell is our guest, ladies and gentlemen.
Bill, I'll tell you something about Alabama-Louisville. When they played down in Orlando, Alabama sold every ticket they got. Louisville sold about 4,000 or 5,000 tickets. I mean, it was a disaster because Louisville, they didn't show up.
That's right.
And that's where if they had given Alabama all the tickets, they'd have bought them.
And I'm going to tell you somebody else that's not going to show up. It's Southern Cal. They're not going to show up either.
No.
You know.
That's a 100,000 seat venue, so you're going to play a game, even if they allowed everybody to come, which they probably won't.
They'll be giving away tickets to that game.
Yeah, you can get a ticket for $2.
But we could drive out there and wait and might even get it free.
It's going to be it's going to be half empty unless they play TCU.
But football means so much more to Alabama than it does Southern Cal, don't you think?
No, I don't think there's any doubt about that. And, this is going to pose a question. The Pac-12's already said, I mean, they're putting off they're the furthest out as far as showing up with volunteer practices. They've got the least amount of enthusiasm for the programs out there. And a lot of it's because of the environment. They've had all the number of people they've had that come down with the bars per se. I think their hands feel like their hands are tied.
You know, I'm gonna tell you something that I found out the other day. I was asking about marching bands. You know, Troy's band's right at 400 now, and they had to separate themselves 6 feet apart. That means they would take that entire northern end zone and make it for the band, which would be pretty impressive. To have the band stretched out over the north end zone at Troy, I can't see Troy having a problem with it. You know.
My dad that's impressive to look at. How many dollars does that put in the budget?
I know, and it doesn't put any of it in there. You're exactly right. It doesn't. But it would be impressive looking to have the marching band, covering the entire northern end zone.
Well, the plans I'm hearing, and Johnny Williams speculated you might sell 25-30% of your tickets. Well, that's a 70% hit in your bottom line of lost revenue, and that doesn't even count hot dogs and beers and Cokes that you would get.
Yeah, that would really hurt. You're exactly right. That would really hurt the concessions unless, Max, they make folks buy concessions from them outside the stadium. You know, they might make that happen. What do you think?
Look, there's so many things, Mike, that's going to get to be worked out, and that's why they're meeting constantly to put together a plan.
Yeah.
And again, just because different conferences are going to have, the NCAA is going to open their doors to let the conferences plan that. But that doesn't mean every school is going to go along. Remember, those conferences, the NCAA, that's all volunteer organizations.
Why not do this? Why not just let people assume the risk themselves? Say, come if you want, don't come if you want. Require them to wear a mask and play the ball game. Sell all the tickets.
That's right.
That could very well be. That may be the simplest way to do it.
Haven't you seen those pictures of the Georgia Tech football game from 1918 in the Spanish flu year, where all the fans are wearing masks, but they're at the game?
Yeah. I tell you what, too, and Max, this bothers me a little bit. This is getting away from things a little bit. But the grocery store, everybody that goes to a grocery store ought to wear a mask that goes to a grocery store. And, that's the same way it should be for this football game.
Can I make my point that I've made, and I want a study done on this?
How are they going to,
enforce it?
I walk in Walmart in Tupelo 2 or 3 times a week. And it's not a third of the people in there have masks.
That's right. That's right.
Answer me this question. Think about the checkout girls that check our groceries. They touch every item that's in our buggy, right, that we touch.
Yeah.
They have been seeing 80 customers a day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 3 months now, 2.5 months. The girls at my grocery store aren't even wearing masks. They've got some little plastic thing that's in front of the credit card machine, but they're not behind that thing the whole time. They're talking to you to the left of it and to the right of it. I have yet to hear of one of these checkout girls that's got COVID-19. And they have seen thousands of people interacted within 2 feet. So my question is, if they're not getting it, you know what I'm saying, Max?
That's only the big grocery stores. The people that are getting it at the mom and pops. That's what the information we get.
I tell you a way they can make money is that you could have Alabama, the Alabama Auburn game. Auburn wears orange and blue face masks. Alabama wears red and white face masks, and you charge each fan $25 per face mask, and they got to wear your school's face mask in the game. Look at the ways to make money.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest has been Max Howell, and of course, Max, I know it's before long everybody's gonna be wanting you to cook for them. What's on the menu?
Well, Mike, I got my groups up here that I've been cooking for about.
I bet you don't see any of them wearing a face mask either, do you?
I guarantee you, there ain't no way. It's hard to fish from a boat with a mask on. Hard to go in the woods and shoot a deer.
Well, I'll tell you the hardest thing is to drink a beer with a face mask on.
Well, they don't stop at the beer, Mike. Those are appetizers.
I got you.
They go after the hard stuff up here where I live.
Well, I understand. And Max, it's always a privilege, buddy, to have you on our show. And of course, Max Howell going into the Troy University Sports Hall of Fame. And right now, the date on that has been pushed back. How far is it? Do you know yet?
Yeah, it's going to be in next April.
Next April. Well, I tell you, my friend,
they're going to combine it.
We're going to do everything Max, we're going to do everything we can to keep you alive until then.
Hey, please do, because my kids are concerned about that.
Well, listen, I want to be just like you when I'm 80 years old. How about that?
Hey, guys, I appreciate it. It's always my pleasure to be on with you.
Thank you, my friend.
See you, Max.
Max Howell, and of course, we appreciate. One of these days, we're going to figure a way to bring in another 3. Of course, Mike Amos, my son, is excellent on this show, and it always brings out a lot. So we want to make sure he's on this show.
Yeah, he had to take one for the team and
no
drop
question
off.
about it. And he's a good sport, no question about it. If you're looking for a way to get into the college football action, go to your favorite magazine rack and get your football magazine.
Where did you get yours?
Right now, I've got 2 of them. I've got Athlon and I got.
But where'd you get them? Where'd you buy them?
At the beach.
Oh, at the beach. They're hard to find in Troy, is why I said.
That's right. And but the rest, they should be getting on the racks very soon. And
I always see them at Books A Million, but we don't have a Books A Million here, so but you gotta go to Montgomery.
And it tells you Troy's top 10 recruits. I mean, it gets into recruiting. They are interesting reading, no question about it. Of course, I want to remind you that our good friends at Bill Jackson Chevrolet, Bill Jackson Ford on the bypass in Troy. Also want to mention Bird Drugs, and breakfast is now being served at Bird Drugs in downtown Troy. And also our good friends at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks. They've got the biggest sale of their season today and the rest of the weekend at Premier Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and Ram Trucks, located on the bypass right in Troy. And hey, Jason Gregory is doing it again, raising money for schools and also any way that you can raise money for education, it is wonderful. Bill Rice, appreciate you this morning, and Steve and everybody up top. We hope that you have a great day and still be safe. Be safe.
At the Piggly Wiggly, we proudly support our local farmers and bring you the best they have to offer.